this guy is claiming, of course, that the wages are up, prices are down, and things, everything's honky-dory, right? Everything's honky-dory. Everything's going great. The economy's fantastic. Don't you know? Don't you know the economy's fantastic? So fantastic, I'm working 2 jobs, right? A lot of other Americans out there are working 2 to 3 jobs, right? Just to make ends meet, just to make sure that they can put food on the table, just to make sure they can put gas in the tank, just to make sure they can take care of the basic necessities around life. And now we have this fool here, this potato who is running this nation right here at the helm, coming out on this video and saying, hey, everything's great, guys. The economy's fantastic. Everything's wonderful. Let's take a listen to this dude.
Growth is strong. Wages are rising. Inflation is down. In fact, the costs have fallen from a gallon of gas to a gallon of milk. We know prices are still too high because of what I call greedflation and shrinkflation.
Oh, I'm glad he mentioned that, by the way. Greedflation and inflation, or what do you say? Shrinkflation. Shrinkflation is a term that is used, right? Is used when companies will, I educated a few of my coworkers a couple weeks ago about shrinkflation. Basically what happens, you guys know, I think most of you guys know, when inflation happens, right? In order to try to keep costs the same and not raise too many prices on customers, what companies will typically do is shrink their packages and charge you the same amount for less, right? Charge you the same amount for less. They would make let's take an example of a gallon of ice cream. They'll take a gallon of ice cream. Say you paid $7 for that gallon of ice cream, right? Inflation is so bad. There's increased costs in oil. There's increased costs in labor. There's increased costs in X, Y, and Z, right? So in order to try not to pass down so much of the cost to the consumer, a lot of times what companies will do is they'll shrink their packaging. They'll shrink their packaging. That's what they'll do. They'll sell you a half gallon of ice cream, which used to be a gallon of ice cream, for the same price, $7 or whatever it is, right? So Biden comes out and says, "Hey, Bobby Walter, man, thank you so much. Frank, don't confuse straight face with brain dead stare." Very true. Very true. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat too, by the way. So what he's saying here, he comes out and basically saying the economy's great. The economy's fantastic, except for all this other stuff that he claims that a gallon of milk is down. Gallon of milk's down? No, sir. No. I work at a grocery store. I know the price of milk has not gone down. You know that the price of gas hasn't gone down because they continue to try to sell you that gas has dropped. No, right? You're smart. I know you guys are smart. You guys are very smart. You guys understand how much gas you were paying prior to Trump leaving office. It was in the $2 range, right? It was like $2.20, $2.40, somewhere in there, right? Am I right, guys? Somewhere in there, right? It was in there. After Biden takes office, right, he signs all of these executive orders, wiping out a lot of the energy independence that we were enjoying under President Trump. And we start to see right away, within weeks, we start to see the gas price spike. The gas price spiking, right? It got so bad to the point where here in the state of Florida, I think the most I paid was $5 a gallon for unleaded gas. $5. And since then, the price has dropped, right? Price has come down back down. I think it was $3.22. I just drove by. It's $3.22 today. $3.22. Yeah, it's a drop from $5, but the $5 that was caused by Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden caused the gas to go to $5 here in the state of Florida. It was much more expensive other places in the country. I know there people were saying, I think it was almost $9, $9.50 in California in some areas, right? And so the prices have come down from the highs, but they're still higher than they were before Trump left office. We have yet to go back down, right? Right? So there you go. Yeah, Ocha Bree Salty. Oh, no, Trump gas here was lower than $1.30. Right now it's $3.29, and that's after the last week, $3.19. Yeah, exactly. Trump gasoline, $1.60. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I can't remember. I feel like it's been forever since I've been able to put gas that was under $3. But you're right. You're right. So yeah, over here, $5 a gallon in California right now, right? Still over $3 a gallon, Mayor says. Yeah. Yvonne Kennedy has never reached above 360 here in Northeast Ohio, 319 today, right? Gas and milk are expensive, right? It's not just gas, though, either. It's not gas. It's bread. You go and look at bread down your bread aisle. Look at it. You'll see the prices of bread. They've raised, right? So what he's saying here to the American people with the brain dead stare is what? Is a lie. It's a lie to the American people. And of course, the mainstream media is going to sit there and lap it up and say, oh, yeah. You're paying less. You just don't know it. You're an idiot if you don't know you're paying less. Biden's done a fantastic job. Right? They did the meme, right? It's your fault that inflation, we have inflation. It's your fault now, right? We've gone through the coping mechanism of the meme, right? We've done the meme already where we don't have inflation. Inflation's not bad. Why inflation's actually good? It's your fault we have inflation, right? They did the meme. But you look around at basic commodities. They have all raised in price. None of them have really come down. And shrinkflation is directly caused by inflation. It's not a corporation being greedy, right? Because they cannot cut costs effectively if they have to, because obviously sales would probably drop if they had to raise the prices on their goods even more, right? And the problem with shrinkflation, this is what I'll say about shrinkflation itself. The problem with shrinkflation is that it never recovers, right? It never recovers. Say we have a good economy where things are going back to normal, the packages won't increase anymore. They're still going to be saying the price might drop, but the sizes of the things aren't going to increase, and you're not going to get more for the price, right? That's going to stay. That's something I've witnessed over many years working in the grocery business. I've worked in the grocery business for over 20 years, and it's something that you notice and you see happen, right? And there's a lot of factors that go into that, right? There's a lot of factors that go into why companies do what they do in order to be able to sell you a product for a price that is still competitive. And Biden obviously is trying to shift the blame onto all corporations, all companies who are selling these goods and services to you, because they're operating also within the same inflation that we are operating under, and even more so at a place trying to stay competitive. So Biden here once again, Biden here is lying, right? I remember when I know I have some people in here that will tell me when gallon milk used to be like under $1 or maybe $1 something. But recently, during the last administration, during Trump's administration, I think milk was high twos, maybe $2.95, $2.85. I would have to check, but I think it was somewhere in there.